What is going down? It is DJ Ash Noble here. Welcome back to another stream. Today we are doing the aftermath of the New Year's Eve at Fusion nightclub in Grimsby. The booking that never nearly happened, unfortunately. I'm going to take you through the story because there is a whole load of a story before I get to the part of telling you how amazing the gig was. And let me tell you, the gig was amazing as well. I'm going to explain everything about the whole entire gig. So sit back and stay tuned. So last night, myself and the layman, we were booked for Fusion nightclub to bring in the new year, and we were to play like the first set of 2025, sort of after the new year had been brought in, which was really cool, really exciting. Super looking forward to it. Super buzzed. It got to Monday, which was the day before yesterday, and the layman started to come down with not feeling too well. So we kind of like, hopefully you're okay tomorrow for the gig, and yeah, all cool. And then yesterday came. Yesterday morning, he wasn't too good, unfortunately. So we kind of said, look, we'll see how the day goes. Hopefully, you're well enough. So I tried to arrange a backup plan so that I could still go and attend the gig if he obviously couldn't attend the gig. And of course, it's New Year's Eve. People make plans, people kind of plan things. So my other idea or backup lift or the person that I was thinking, big shout to Bryson, would maybe be able to give me a lift, said that he already had New Year's Eve plans, which, I understood that. I was a bit gutted, but obviously at this point, we were still kind of in the hopes that Lehman would still come and attend the gig. It got to about 5:30 on the yesterday evening, and the layman had woke up and he just wasn't feeling well at all, so he had to unfortunately pull out from the gig. And then obviously the promoter is asking, has he still got me, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, look, I'm in good health, I'm in good fettle, so I would love to still come and do the gig. Big shout to Go See. Big shout to everybody locking in. So I was still in good fettle to do the gig, and this is where the stress started. So we were trying all night to try and find a way or somebody that would take me to Grimsby, which I really hate being in that situation. And I got to the point where I kind of thought, like, is this just even, is this becoming more stress than it's actually worth? I may as well just throw the towel in and say, I can't make the booking. And the thing about the night is there kept being like these little glimmers of hope where you'd think like there's a possibility I'd be going, and then you'd get to the like, oh no, unfortunately not. And that happened a couple of times throughout the night. So I was trying to ask around a few people, and then the promoter was potentially going to get another DJ on board from Hull to play a set back to back with me, and then transport me to the gig, which I would have done it, but it wasn't ideally what I wanted to do, and then that looked like it was gonna happen, so I stayed positive, like, well, at least I'll be able to get to the gig, blah blah blah, as you do. My mum's friend, who originally couldn't take me, he was asking around a few people that might have being up for giving me a lift and stuff like that, and people who didn't really have any plans and just wanted to earn a little bit of New Year's Eve money. We asked around, and unfortunately, it got to about 10 to 9 on the night. By the way, I'm not playing till half midnight, so it got to about 9:30. We'd sort of tried all of our lucks, and then bless him, Alan, who was the original guy who I asked in the morning, who said he had plans, decided that he was going to scarper his plans, and he said, I'll take you, we'll take you to the gig. So me, a friend of mine who lives in these same blocks of flats, we went to the event. And what a brilliant night it was! It was really good. It kind of, I got there and I'm doing my set and I'm enjoying myself. And I kind of felt a little bit like, all the stress kind of felt like it was worth it because I was there and it was going off, and I kind of felt like there was these little glimmers of hopes, and I kind of, I felt there was a little bit like signs telling me that, you are meant to go to this gig. At the time, I was kind of thinking like, is this signs telling me that this gig's a bad idea? But it was really good. Happy New Year to you, Paul. Absolutely blessed. Bless up, man. Absolutely blessed up, man. Hope you're all well. So we got to the gig. And Fusion is heaving. Fusion is busy. Fusion is on a really, really busy vibe. There's a lot of people about. There's a lot of people outside. There's people at the bar. There's people on the dance floor. Because Fusion can be one of them places, and I've been there before, and I've played to like 2 people, I'm not going to lie to you. And then sometimes you go and you play to a bit of a better crowd, and then sometimes you go and you play and it's heaving. But the thing about Fusion is it's open all the time. There's things going on all the time. So, it will be open this weekend, but because people have just been out for New Year, it's probably going to be quiet. So it's one of them. But it's open all the time, so you get the good vibes there. You get it's always a good vibe there whenever you play there. It's just sometimes you don't always have a crowd. Sometimes you have a crowd. It's just part of how these venues go. They're open all the time. So, you get the busy days, you get the quiet days, and that's just how the venue goes, unfortunately. Happy New Year. Or Happy Meow, as to whatever you said. So I jump on the decks and I start playing, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, from a set perspective, it wasn't the best set that I've ever played. I didn't feel it was, and what I really felt like in this set is I was getting a lot of brain freeze, so brain fog. So I was sat there. I was stood there behind the decks, and I just could not think what track to play next, and I was rolling through folders. I didn't know what track to play next, to the point where I was just at some stages loading anything in because I was kind of thinking I'm not really sure, but I still managed to really pull it off, and I had a really good vibe on the dance floor. I had a really, really good, just an enjoyable moment. And it's really made me, again, I do these sets and I get this buzz when people are, where people are singing along, and I really love it. Paul C says, was it open format? So the type of sets I normally play now are like a mixture between Clubland and Bounce. So I play a lot of Bounce, Scouse House, Clubland, and stuff like that. That's the thing that I do personally. So for me, I'm playing all these, so I play stuff like Cascada every time we touch. That's quite a big one that often goes into my sets. And then I'll play stuff like Pretty Green Eyes, depending what the night is. If I'm warming up for somebody like Ultra Beat, then I wouldn't play Pretty Green Eyes because he'd probably play it. But, and you've got to sort of think, what the headliner's going to play. But this was just, there wasn't really a headliner as such. It was just, there was loads of different sort of up and coming and local DJs on just one big New Year party. myself coming from Hull really. So I played a mixture of like bounce and clubland, but I just wasn't sure what tracks to play, but I still managed to pull it off with the ones that I played. What's my DJ rider? So I don't really have a rider, in all honesty with you. I'm not a yeah, I don't drink alcohol anymore, really. So the only thing I really do ask is like if the promoter can get me just like a glass of Coke in or like a glass of Pepsi, depending what the venue offers. So just maybe like a Pepsi on arrival, and then maybe just give me a top up during my set, just so I've got a drink to wet the whistle while I'm having a mix. If I'm doing an event and the layman's not with me hosting, then I recommend, or sometimes I ask, like if I can use a microphone just so I can do a little bit of crowd hyping. I don't go in and start spitting bars, but like I'll hype them up. If there's a big sing along track coming in, I'll try and get them to sing along to it. So I do sometimes ask, like, if there's a mic there, like, can I use the mic? Can I just use it briefly just to say a couple of things during the set? Which, in Fusion, there is a microphone plugged in, and, they're always fine with somebody using a mic. So that was obviously, a good thing for me. But, in terms of a rider, I don't really have one as such, and I don't think I'm really at a big enough level to really have a rider. I mean, I have a fee and stuff, and I charge a fee, and sometimes I knock prices down, and and people kind of they ask me for invoices. Like I had to send an invoice today, and I kind of, like, as daft as it sounds, I kind of almost feel like I'm not at a level where I feel that I'm good enough to be sending an invoice. That's maybe me just self-doubting myself. But I rate that's sometimes how I feel, and sometimes I don't feel that I am who I am, or I'm at the level that I'm at, and I try to degrade myself. When really, like sometimes I don't always like asking fees and things, because I don't know why, like it's a stupid thing, but because I still very much feel like I'm up and coming, and I've got a long way to go, which, I do have a long way to go, but it's just crazy. And then, when promoters are like, oh yeah, no worries, we'll sort that invoice out, and I'm like, all right, because I'm thinking in my mind, like, are they going to think it's too much? Are they going to think, it's only noble, is he worth that? And sometimes that's kind of in sense what puts me off, in terms of, in terms of like, wanting to, to push myself properly in that form of sense. But this year, I'm definitely going to do that, because it needs to be done. Definitely. But we had a really, really good vibe. I played lots of tracks, and then I ended, of course, on my Living on a Prayer. Well, not my Living on a Prayer, but a remix of Living on a Prayer. So, for those of you who are not aware of the story, I've changed a lot in terms of the way I DJ, the sets I play, and this time a year ago, Living on a Prayer would not have been something that I would have put into one of my sets, or let's say I wouldn't have wanted to put that. Big shout, Happy New Year to DJ Top Vibe. So anyway, Ultra Beat and Flip and Phil, the Chris Henry Ultra Beat, because obviously he doesn't do stuff with Ian Redman anymore. But they did a remix of the Bon Jovi Living on a Prayer, just for a bit of fun. Not really planning anything with it, and it blew up, and it became like a really big festival anthem. They play it all the time, and basically, I like, a year ago, I would not have wanted to, like, oh, that's too cheesy for my sets. Like, I don't want to play a remix of Living on a Prayer. And I saw the reaction that it was getting. And then I played it once in one of my sets. I thought, all right, I'll play it. And everybody sang it. And I thought, do you know what? Maybe it's right. Maybe it works. And I got a buzz off the reaction of the crowd singing it. And it kind of changed my whole perspective on that track. And then ever since then, it's always been something that I've always liked to end a set on. So it's just like, we've had this really good positive set. Let's just end it on one more big high note, and let's just sing "Living on a Prayer." Let's all sing it. So, of course, yesterday I ended on "Living on a Prayer." I went on the microphone, I asked everybody to sing it, as you do, and they all sang it, and I got a video, and you can hear the whole club singing it and everybody in it singing it. Really good. And yeah, Paul, it has kind of become like it's become like a floor filler. It's amazing. It works. You can have a crowd of 10 people, you can have a crowd of 30 people, a crowd of 100 people. They will sing that song. It's amazing. Really, really good vibes. So, with that being said, we had an absolutely amazing set. Dark by Design or Alex Kidd? I like them both, but I'm probably gonna say Dark by Design, just because Dark by Design did a lot of stuff for Tidy, and growing up I was a big fan of Tidy tracks, and my dad was quite into his hard house at one point, my mum was as well, so like the Tidy Boys, Lisa Pinup, Lisa Lashes, Anne Savage, BK, Lee Aslam, all them, I was quite sort of educated on them growing up, and my stepdad, who had 1210s, he had a lot of hard house on vinyl, and yeah, it was one of them things that was like really, really, to me, really special in terms of that era. Whereas Alex Kidd, if I'm remembering rightly, he does a lot more like hard style and stuff, which, I don't mind the hard style. I don't mind it. It's not my favourite genre, in all honesty. I think, as you can all tell, I like, well-known melodies. I like sing-along, I like sing-alongs. I like feel-good anthems. So that's why like Bounce works for me, because there's a lot of remixes of that. And then there's also like like hardcore again, real still sort of like, loads of good sing-alongs and remixes, and that's probably why I like them genres. And then of course I like me classic house. I know his real name as well. Friend of mine knows him quite well. My house is flooded. Not a good way to start the year, is it? No, didn't get anyone in. No, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Not a good way to start the not a good way to start the year. Not good at all. Anyway, little bit of a discussion that I want to have before we do end the stream, and it's about Christmas trees, right? And it's about when to take your Christmas tree down, when to put your Christmas tree up, right? Because I see loads of people, right, who put like Christmas trees up in November. Even some people put them up like late October. There's actually somebody I know who puts their Christmas tree up for Halloween. They decorate it for Halloween. Um, and then basically they undecorate it after Halloween, and then they decorate it for Christmas. So I wanted to start the debate, right, because I've got a tree up just next to me here. So I was thinking tomorrow that I will probably take the tree down. I was thinking either tomorrow or Friday. It is supposed to be 12 before, 12 after. So for me personally, my birthday is on the 1st of December. So normally on that week of on that week of my birthday, like would normally be like when I lived at my nan's. That's when we decorate. So normally, I like to kind of have the full December sort of decorated up for Christmas. However, I'm not one of these who likes to put them up in like November or October. But then people take their tree down on Boxing Day. They get their house back to normal. And I just wanted to raise like what do you do? Because personally, like, am I taking mine down too late? Like, I know technically it hasn't been 12 days since Christmas. It's been, it's currently right now it's been 7 days since Christmas. So there would be 5 days to go before I would reach the 12 days, right? But I just thought, because I don't think people really follow like the whole 12 days bollocks. I don't think people really follow that now. Like I say, people put them up early, but then also people take them down early. So I just wanted to see, when people really took theirs down and what people like to do. And if people think I'm taking mine down too late, or am I taking it down, do you know what I mean? Am I taking it down in good time, or and I didn't put mine up in the beginning of December because I moved into a new flat and I had like literally no decorations at all, and then my nan gave me a spare Christmas tree that she had, and I really didn't decorate like I really wanted to, and the tree looks absolutely horrible, I'm not gonna lie. So I only put the tree up like probably about 2 weeks ago or something like that. So, I just kind of thought like, I couldn't help putting it up late, but I just kind of thought, but some people don't like putting the tree up, so they put it off as late as they can, whereas some people like to put it up. Is your mum or dad a DJ? No. So my stepdad, who is sadly no longer with us, he wasn't a DJ, but he had a pair of turntables at home, and essentially he liked having a mix at home. I don't think he ever aspired or ever attempted to push himself out as a DJ. I don't think he ever like went by a DJ name that I'm aware of. He just always had decks at the house, and he'd always, he'd put the decks on and he'd have a mix. That's as far as I'm aware. That's as far as I know. My dad and my mum had quite a few friends when I was growing up. However, that were DJs. There was a guy called DJ Barney, he's a local DJ to Driffield, and he's DJed for years, and he still DJs quite often. Again, I'm not really sure how big or how far he ever got as a DJ, or whether he was just somebody who liked to play records, and play music, and then whether he was, and he just kind of always played locally. I'm not really sure. Then there was like DJ Fraser and stuff like that in Driffield. They were also DJs, but again, I don't really know. I don't really know how far they ever really got as a DJ. I'm not really sure what they, or if they just played local, or if they've ever really done anything more. They definitely don't have like artist profiles. They don't say there's my new mix on SoundCloud. So I wouldn't really like to say that they're really some sort of like what I'd call a proper DJ, or somebody who's trying to aspire. I think it's just somebody who's always done a bit of DJing. I've always done I know they used to play at the local nightclub that we had in Driffield quite often, and I think that was probably about as far as it ever got. But I wouldn't like to say, I'm not them. I was only a kid when they, when they were doing all this, and now and again they still go into a few of the pubs in town and do, spin some records. But yeah, I mean, growing up, I don't know if they ever furthered afield into Hull, or whatever they did. Somebody gave you inspiration. You have a good story. Yeah, my parents, they were just ravers. They went out all the time. They went nightclubbing all the time, and they always listened to dance music. So that was always brought up for me. Like when I was growing up, we always bought like the Clubland CDs, the Ministry of Sound CDs. They were always a big part of my childhood, always. So for me, I was just inspired by the music, and then I think it just got to a point one day where I thought, I don't want to just listen to music anymore. Like, I realized there's more to music than just listening to it. I realized that we can make it. I realized that we can mix it. Like I knew of DJs growing up, but it was just I never really thought of like doing it myself. And then I thought, why don't I give it a go? I love music. I've got a passion for it. Let's take it that bit further. So I did. That's kind of where it all started. It's in my blood. Music is in my blood. Like I can do anything, right? And the whole, like, you can ask me question upon question. It always dates back to the point of I just like music. It always just goes back to I just love music. The whole reason is I just love music. I go to bed with music on my mind. I wake up with music on my mind. It's like an addiction. It is like literally one of the worst but best addictions you could ever have, because music for me is like an addiction to smoking. Like when people get they get stressed out when they've not had a cigarette. I get stressed out when I'm not listening, if I haven't listened to music in a while. Like, I have to, somewhat throughout the day, I have to listen to a bit of music. It's something I always have to do. Whether, if I'm traveling on a train, then I'll put headphones in. I have to do some form of listening to music, whether it be having a mix, whether it be having a laugh, to some like parody songs, whether it be just going on to YouTube, whatever it may be, there is always, I've got to do something music related throughout the day, and that is where it all kind of comes from, and that is where it really comes from, and where it's not good. So for me, I just love music. I just love it. I love the hard house to the house to the classic house to the hardcore to the bounce to the scouse house to the trance. So once you've learned to beat match, does it become active? Beat matching is like, for me, beat matching is like the main thing, really, that you really need like to learn to DJ. But like I would even go as far as to say like beat matching doesn't have to be as perfect these days as it kind of did back in the day, because the thing about it is, like, when you're entertaining to a crowd, it's not like, as daft as it sounds, it's not always about how good you mix. And it sounds like really cliche. Now, if you just went on the decks and you just couldn't mix to save your life and you were double beating all over the place, right, then yeah, you'd probably get like, yeah, we're not going to book this guy again, he's absolutely rubbish. People don't want to hear loads of out of beat music, granted, right? However, nowadays, especially like from people on a dance floor perspective, they don't really care how good you are at mixing. If you can mix, that is good. How good you are at it doesn't really matter. All they're bothered about is that you're playing the right songs at the right time to keep them on the dance floor. And the thing about it is I used to think so differently about DJing. So I used to think of like, when you do like a mobile DJ gig, right? The aim is to get people on the dance floor. The aim is to play the music that you like. And then I used to think like when you're playing a nightclub, it's completely different, which it kind of is. But I kind of felt like you didn't, the aim was that you just go there and you play a set that you've been asked to play, or turn up and play a bounce set. So you go out and just throw, some of your favourite bounce tunes, and, jobs are good at. But what I've started to realise is treat the nightclub gig like you would treat a mobile DJ gig, like if you're doing a wedding. Like, so turn up to one of them gigs and work the dance floor like if you were doing somebody's wedding. So play tracks that you think are going to work to get the best crowd reaction. And what I've come to realize is it's not always about what tracks you want to play. Sometimes it's about playing tracks that are going to entertain a crowd. Now, obviously, of course, you aren't going to sit there and just go through a lifetime of playing music that you're not really into, just because it gets a crowd reaction, because then you're going to start to not enjoy it yourself. But sometimes you have to kind of work and you have to read a crowd. So when I do my gigs now, I play songs that I like, but I play songs that I also think the crowd are going to sing. So, like, for example, last night I thought, I bet they'll sing Cascada every time we touch. I dropped it in, and I love that song, I like it. It's a classic. They sang it, and that's kind of what it's all about. So for me, as a DJ, my mixing doesn't have to be perfect. Like, if I can beat match, if I can play them good music and it just doesn't sound absolutely terrible, then I'm winning. As opposed to, really fine tuning and listening to make sure it's absolutely smack bang perfect in beat, and to make sure that it's a really seamlessly, where you're mixing one track into the other. That doesn't really matter these days. What do I think about phones at events? Phones at events? I sit on the fence with it. I I kind of understand it from I kind of understand it from like both points of views when it comes to phones at events. So obviously, phones are really good at events because they're capturing the moments, they're capturing what the DJ is doing, they're capturing how good a night is. That is obviously like a really really cool thing, right? I don't know, say for example you book tickets to go and see said DJ. I don't know, say for example Calvin Harris, right? You booked, a DJ to go and see Calvin Harris, right? And then you can go online and you can look at footage and you can watch footage of Calvin Harris playing other sets. You can see other people that have gone to see him before who have taken videos while they're at the gig. And that is a really good way for you to kind of, really get excited, when you see all the smoke cannons and the lights going off. When people like Creamfields and things, when they stream the sets and stuff, you get a really good vibe of what it's like when you go there. And you're not kind of going there and then wondering, what's it going to be like? Am I going to like this? Am I going to enjoy this? That kind of thing. So I understand it in that sense, and I like it from a perspective as well as like a DJ. You can get footage yourself of what you've done at a gig. You can show people, like when I played here last night, this is how it went down. And for me and for a DJ and somebody who's trying to push and promote themselves, it's a really really cool aspect. On the other hand, I do kind of see it from the point of, like, you look at videos of these events, and all you see is like the lights of people's phones, and people say that it's not like it used to be, where you were there for the moment, you were there for the music, and you're not just glued to your phone all the time. And I do kind of understand, we are coming into an era of life where we are glued to our phones. It's something that, we're glued to our phones a lot. I'm streaming on it right now. Every day I wake up and I go on my phone. Before I go to bed, I'm more than likely on my phone. So it is something where, we're on our phones. We are on our phones. Unfortunately, it's a world that we're kind of living in, and it does look a little bit like you see a sea of people, and it's just the lights of people's mobile phones. It's just people holding phones up, and it doesn't look the best in that sense. But I don't think like phones at events are like completely a bad thing. I just think like I think it's a controversial thing because I certainly think like. you know, like if you go to a really good concert, like you want to take videos and look back at where you've been, you know. And again, DJs, like I said, it's really good for promotion. So, you know, it's a bit of a tough one. A lot of people, especially, you know, a lot of this talk comes from the old school people, the people that were there in the 90s when you didn't hold a phone up, you know, and people say like the 90s were better. People say like, you know, we had this and we did this in the 90s. And, you know, and I think it's just stupid. It's just fake. It's just stupid because I kind of feel like people that were born in the 2000s or the 2010s, like, you know, when it gets to like 30, 40 years, you know, when they're going to, you know, what was back in their day, you know, like we'll be saying like it wasn't like this back in 2010, you know, because what we grew up with and what we got used to is what you know, what we get, you know, what we get used to is what we're used to. So we're kind of like you know, but there we go. So I'm a little bit on the fence with it really, because I think like a lot of people, like I was born in 97, but like my childhood was through the 2000s. But anyway, there we go. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna leave the stream here. So like, comment, share.